So someone asked me a question about how do you generate power from your slaps. So demonstration. Okay, so how do you generate good solid power? So first thing is, why would you use a slap, say, to an open fist like a regular boxing punch? So in the eyes of the law, it's not looked upon as aggressive. So when if you knock a guy out with a slap, or you knocked him out, mate, with a slap. But I know two people that have used it, and when the police came afterwards, they were all right with it. They were like, okay, I slapped the guy. Anyway, story for another time. But what you want to do, you want to generate that power for the slaps. Just take a stagger step, just to start with. Left foot forward, right foot back, knees are bent. What I want to do is I want to do it from a platform, a neutral platform. So similar to just having your hands up in altercation, I just want it there. What I want to do from here, when I first start, is almost I want to lead with my left hand. It's almost like a shadow jab. Once I do that, I want to launch with my right. But all the power comes from my hips, comes from the torque of my hips. So from this position, as I get out that lead hand, so this could be in a real life situation where you'll just have the hands out. Now I need to torque my hips and put my right hand through his jaw. Same time, my left hand comes into cover. So that's the movement that I want. To generate the power, I take a slight step to my right, and then from here, as I do it from here. There. Okay, come back. There. To generate the power, my hips need to torque. I need to put the power into my hips. So it's almost like generates that whiplash movement. Everything comes from my hips and feet to generate the power. As I hit with a hand, it's the padding of the heel of the hand that strikes. If I catch the guy with the secondary tools of the fingers across either the ocular cavity or the ridge of the nose, that's a bonus. But what you're aiming for is our anterior triangle. Anterior triangle, I think it's called. This part of the jaw. This is where you're aiming for, especially if the guy's speaking, you can impact upon there. To generate the power, what you want to do, just start from there, jab from there. You could do it, see, that's almost like a blinding jab. If you have both your hands available to you, you could use that as almost a distance, because if you can touch him, then you know that you can touch him with your slap as well. So you want to touch there. I take a slight step, see, I take a slight shift to my right hand side because I'm just tapping my right. As I do that, I then launch. I bring this hand back to my left, and then here I move. I use the balls of my feet to drive my feet and hips through. So it's that momentum that I want to do. If you're really fucking good, you can knock the guy out from here. Very, very few people that can do that. But that's the ideal. You want to obviously knock him out from here. Most people, it comes within that arc, from this arc. If you're a beginner, you may even throw it from your pocket, so you can there. The problem is that you're telegraphing it. So if you're throwing from the pocket, if you're just starting, then you're telegraphing it. So that's why a good jab there is a blinder. But what you could do, what you can do, is work from here and then shorten down the cycle. So you're taking from a long travel and then shortening it out. So you can have a little play around with it. So it just depends on where you're at. But the mechanics of it are exactly the same. You're shifting your weight to your right, and then from here you're launching. See, as I launch, everything comes from the balls of my feet. So right leg, right ball of my feet travels through, and you're smashing through the target as well. So you're not just stopping, it's smashing through the target. That's where you want it. That's where the impact you want to get on it. You want to breathe as well for your strike. So it's here at the end of your strike. It's strike through. If you want to make it more for the streets, then you can make it a little bit more guttural. The impact is exactly the same. Yeah. So again, you can practice this with your left and the right. So if I take it from the right, from the left, so I go left. Again, the mechanics are exactly the same. So you shift, come back there to a neutral platform where you're just having your hands up, taking and talking to the guy, right, or girl, whatever. Yeah. So it's that torque of the hips, and you can have a little play around with this. So you can take it from just neutral positions. Maybe you'll just call out, oh shit, all right, mate, there. You can try that, or you can just, oh shit, I'm here. Maybe you have in front of your right hand. swiping with the left. Yeah, wherever it works for you. In an ideal scenario as well, maybe you don't knock the guy out off the first hit. You might have to grab a piece of clothing and follow up with a few other strikes. But this is just more about building the mechanics to develop that kind of rotational strike. So that's what this video is mainly focusing on. It focuses on that, just that. So that's what I want to get you doing. If you don't have access to a bag, you could do it with a single pad. So you could do that as well. But the mechanics are exactly the same. So it's like front on, left foot forward, right foot back, because I'm right-handed. If I do it for the left to my hip with my right, I shift my weight slightly and then hit. Yeah. Obviously, the more that you can cut down that little trigger movement, the less telegraphic you're going to make it. There, shift, move. That's something I got from Joe Fraser's book, actually, from one of his books that he wrote. Really good book. But one of the things I picked up from that was when you train the left hooks. He had one of the best left hooks in the history of boxing. And what he actually says was you actually start with a slap. You practice the left hook, my shift in there, and then traveling with your hips. The way he explains, as I seem to remember, is your hands doesn't move until your hip moves, and then you hit through. So it's not much difference from that to that. So all you're doing is just literally same as a slap. You're just closing up the fist at the end and traveling across there. So that's, the mechanics are exactly the same. That's a good way of explaining it. So as soon as your hips move and then your hands move. So if I'm throwing the left hook, then it's just there, come back to that position. So yeah, give that a try. So everything comes from the hips. The more your hips travel. So I've seen some people teach it where they travel their hips around, which is fine. I prefer to keep my feet planted, but you can even do it with the balls of the feet twist. Yeah, it's personal preference. And the important thing is your hips travel. That is the hips that travel, that generates impact. So that's what you want. Also relax. So it's not there, so you're not stiff for it. You're actually quite just relaxed. It's like a wet towel. It's like a whip. So it's there. Give that a try.